Hello, Savage and Sixers. Hope everything is good. For those of you who are returning for another challenge, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm super, super excited. I wanted to do just a quick video, basically introducing kind of Savage and Six and some of the things that you can expect over the next week as we roll, get a little bit closer to it, and just kind of go over some of the ground rules that we're going to be that we're going to need to know about or that we're going to have questions about so I can kind of lay the basis of Savage and Six a little bit. So, a lot of you guys who are new are probably asking, why is this man standing in front of me? This tattooed guy talking to me, who is he and why is he wearing a shirt that is Ted holding a beer taking a leak? All I can say to you guys is my name is Matt. I've been personal training for pretty much most of my life since I was 15. Been involved in some pretty high level athletics in both martial arts and rugby. And the truth of the matter is that I'm wearing the shirt because I want you guys to know that I don't take myself too seriously, and that this is ultimately going to be a lot of fun. Right? This is all about it's about getting fit. It's about learning some new skills, and it's about having fun. Now, a lot of you guys who have done the challenge before, this is going to be a lot of repeat. So I apologize for that in advance. But for anybody new, it's really important that I at least take the time to introduce myself and kind of explain a little bit about what's going to happen over the next few days, and just talk a little bit about Savage and Six and the whole process. So anyway, as I said, I'm super stoked to have you guys joining me again. I'm going to be posting videos like this in the Facebook chat regularly. Regularly. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing that. You'll be hearing from me quite a bit. I'm going to be talking about a lot of different topics. I always do. I always try to keep it fresh. I always try to keep it interesting, and I encourage people to kind of give suggestions about things they want to hear about. So I've just kind of made a little list of things that I want to talk to you guys about. Anybody who's just kind of approaching this for the first time, and just a little bit about what to expect. Because I know Senya did a video earlier today for the girls, and not to be outdone, because it's always kind of a friendly competition in between her and I. And the truth of the matter is, as much as Senya and I are a team, and we are a team, I love her. She's my everything. We throw a little bit of fire into the mix, against each other and see who does better, the guys or the girls, right? So she says girls, I say guys. Who won the last one? That's right. She let me win. Jack, you heard her. Get her, Jack.
I'll buy you a beer, Jack.
She says she's gonna buy you a beer, buddy. Anyway, I digress. So I just wanted to have like a friendly introductory session. My God, session here. As I said, I don't take myself too seriously. I don't ever claim to know it all because I think that that's the biggest failure as a trainer. There's a lot of guys out there who consider themselves gurus, and they spread misinformation, and they say it's my way or the highway. But there's 1,000 different ways to get to where you want to go and to get to that destination. So I think it's important to explore that and talk about that a little bit. And as I said, I don't take myself too seriously. I don't claim to know everything. I do know a lot about a lot. This is what I've lived and loved and bred for the last many, many years is fitness. So I do know quite a bit, but anybody who sits there and tells you that there's only one way and they know it all, maybe you need to get away from because there's 1,000 different ways to skin a cat and everybody's different. So it's just going to be a process of me getting to know you guys, getting comfortable with you guys, figuring out how your body works and how we're going to get there ultimately. So I sent out that email previously, which is a questionnaire for your meal plan. So make sure you complete that and send it back to me with your answers. And in the next few days here, I'm in the process of starting them already. I'm going to be sending you off a preliminary meal plan that you can kind of take a look at. And then if there's something that's not going to work for you, we can make changes to it. And that'll be your starting meal plan from the go. Anybody who's doing Savage and Six regular, we'll probably update your meal plan a couple of times throughout the challenge. And anybody who's doing classic or light rather, we'll get the one meal plan. So I send that out because I really want to be able to nail your meal plans. And as I said, Senya and I are a team, but we have different ways of doing things because we were training for a long time before we ever met each other and got together. So we just have a different way of doing things. Hers is not wrong. It's not against what I do, but just we do things differently. So there's a little bit of a different process for the guys and the girls. Truth be known, I have also substantially less guys who typically sign up for the challenge, although the proportion is growing quickly than Senya. So I have the time to give a little bit more of a customized experience, and that includes video check-ins that I'll send, which is kind of like some feedback in video form for a variety of different reasons. It just seems to be quicker for me to do so. I'm able to do so because I don't have 80 odd to send out. But a couple of things that I want you guys to think about before you start the challenge is get yourself, if you don't already have them, get yourself a really good pair of gym shoes and something that you can run in. You know, there's kind of two different types of gym shoes. One is like a flat-soled lifting shoe, which are good. They're good for heavier lifts, but ultimately I recommend that you go out and you get a pair of shoes that you can run with. Something that's good. Shoes are just not the kind of thing that you want to cheap out on, because ultimately it's going to affect your joints and it's going to affect your ankles. So if you don't have good gym shoes, please go out and grab some. Of course, a gym membership is something else that you're going to require. So um, if you're just signing up, because it happens all the time, guys will sign up and they'll be like, okay, I'm ready, and obviously you need a gym membership to be able to do that. So supplements, I'm going to talk about here in a couple of seconds, some recommended supplements to get you started. One of the questions on that meal plan was about protein powder. So we'll get into that in a second. Another thing that I need you guys to get is a food scale. And I know that sounds intimidating. You're like, you want me to weigh my food? I can tell you this: you have two options, and I don't mean this in a jerk way. I just mean it in an honest way. You have two options, and this is kind of the analogy that I always use when you're trying to watch your bank account, grow your bank account. What do? Right? You create a budget and you create a list of expenditures and you create a list of expenditures sorry, where's my brain at? It's late here in Costa Rica. Of expenditures and just general expenses, and you kind of sort everything out and you watch everything. But if you don't take the time to measure everything and put some numbers to that, you're not going to succeed. If you're just eyeing your food, honestly, your calorie count is going to be off. And not only that, but it throws off the feedback loop that I get for check-ins for you guys. So um, make sure you get a food scale. It might seem weird at first. I think that people tend to get a lot more food than they think they're going to get when they're on a typical diet, because I think diet has this bad connotation with it, but it's not really a bad thing. Diet just refers to foods that you're going to be eating. And I find that if people tend to find that they're eating more of healthier foods than they were ever eating when they were eating crap foods, and maybe they were gaining weight. So get yourself a food scale, some little measuring cups, some plastic ones from Walmart. The food scale at Walmart is like 25 bucks, and the measuring cups are like maybe a couple of bucks, if that. So another couple of things that I recommend you pick up is a back belt, ironically. And I know you guys have probably seen people in the gym before and they're wearing these back belts, but those back belts serve a really, really good function. It reminds you to tighten up your core, and it actually increases your strength throughout all your movements. I do recommend that you wear your back belt often if you're worried about causing imbalances. Cardio and other activities tend to strengthen your lower back muscles, but we've got targeted routines to be able to strengthen those muscles as well. And just because you're wearing a black belt, it doesn't mean that you're going to get a soft back or you're going to get an imbalanced back. It's just going to help support you. It's going to make sure that your form is proper. It's going to remind you to tighten your core as you're moving through. My favorite kind of back belt are not the big, bulky, bodybuilder ones, but rather the small. They're kind of like a fabric strap that goes around with. And Powerbringer, for example, is one of my favorite back belts, and it's maybe $30 at a lot of supplement stores. Definitely worth picking up. It's going to prevent injury, it's going to help increase your strength, and it's a good buy. Another thing that I want you guys to always have is a water jug. I know that sounds crazy, but a water jug that's at least the capacity of 1 liter. You're going to be drinking a lot of water during this challenge. Not too much water, because that can cause a negative effect, but you're going to be aiming for at least like 4 to 6 liters of water a day, and that's going to help flush out toxins. It's going to help flush out fat. It's going to make sure that the oxygen and nutrient exchange inside of your body is optimized and that your digestion is optimized. These are all things that you need to do if you want to get to where you want to go. So basic supplements to start out, guys. Protein powder, if you said that you wanted protein on your diet, make sure you go out and pick up a protein powder. I highly recommend that you grab something that is an isolate, because isolate tends to be lower in carbs, lower in fat. It's a more pure protein. It hits the muscles quicker. It feeds the muscles quicker. And overall, I'm a huge fan of isolate. We'll talk later on in future videos about a few different types of proteins, but I do, in my personal opinion, isolate is a better protein simply because it hits the muscles faster and it's easier to digest. It's quicker to absorb. Branched chain amino acids, BCAAs. And BCAAs are actually the building block of protein. Protein is the building block of muscle. Branched chain amino acids are extremely helpful in the sense that they help to regenerate muscle quicker. Not only that, but they also have been shown to give you a little bit more energy and a little bit more power and a little bit more endurance at the gym. If you sip those while you're working out. So branched chain amino acids. If you go to any reputable supplement store, they'll try to sell you everything on the earth. Try to keep kind of these in mind. And we'll kind of develop on that as the challenge moves around. But branched chain amino acids, I do recommend you grab some. And we can talk about how to dose those and all that kind of stuff in due time. There's also another one branched chain amino acid that I recommend that you pick up, and that's called glutamine. And that's in addition to your branched chain amino acids, and it's just one of the branched chain amino acids, but it's the #1 branched chain amino acid that is responsible for recovery and for healing muscles. So glutamine powder, you'll find it super cheap, and it's definitely worth picking up. Another thing that I do recommend, multivitamins. I recommend one multivitamin in particular, which is, as anybody who's been around for this challenge for a long time knows, that multivitamin is called VitaStack. And VitaStack is made by Allmax Nutrition. It's got the full gamut of multivitamins and micronutrients, and we'll talk about why all this is important. We'll also talk about the fact that it's been proven you don't get the same absorption from a vitamin that you do from real food. Real food is always better, but in order to get all of your micro and macronutrients from real food, it's going to be extremely hard. It's extremely hard to do while working within a calorie range, right? If you wanted to get every single required micro macronutrient, you'd be eating a lot of food. So I recommend that people do take a multivitamin while realizing that there is a weakness and it's not a supplement for proper nutrition. It is a supplement, which means that even if you're only absorbing 20% of the vitamin stack, the VitaStack, or whatever you're taking, you're still absorbing 20% more than you would have had you not taken it at all. And what you guys will find out throughout the course of this challenge is that micronutrients are just as important as macronutrients, right? Macros being protein, fat, carbs, and micros being a plethora of things that really affect us on a micro level, so in small doses. So your typical drugstore vitamin isn't really going to make the cut. I do recommend that you go out and you get a good pack, either VitaStack or Animal Nutrition, or just one of the packages that comes with all the pills. And it's kind of weird to get used to, but you'll notice you'll have more energy and your body's going to function a little bit better. Pre-workout, up to you guys, totally up to you guys. I personally use pre-workout. It does have some artificial flavorings in there. There's a bunch of different types that you can get. It's got its pros and it's got its cons, and we'll talk about some of that later on in the challenge. But me personally, I like to take a pre-workout because it gets me amped up for my workout. Is it necessarily the healthiest thing in the world? Probably not. And once again, that's something we'll get a little bit deeper into later on. But I do use pre-workout. I recommend that that you might too. The positive effects are increased energy, increased vascularity and muscle pump, because a lot of them have what's called a vasodilator, which will actually expand your veins and allow better nutrient absorption. So I do recommend you grab those. Anyway, I'm going to be sending you guys out an invite for the Facebook group if you're not already in there in the course of the next week. I do have a Facebook group where I post a lot of these videos, and where I'll post articles and we'll kind of have discussions. We'll talk about like weekly challenges and different things, and make that group your own. I know it's kind of an awkward thing getting, especially as men, right? We're not as sharing as women, and we're not. I think men are with fear of putting my foot in my mouth are. We're more, we're based on testosterone. We're more based on our goals and our life mission, and women are more about communicating. So for that reason, with the addition of testosterone in surplus in our bodies, we don't want to share as much. But I can tell you right now, it's a safe environment. There's a couple of really basic ground rules, and those are just remember, we've got a lot of different walks of life. I train a lot of different walks of life. We've got a lot of different walks of life coming to this challenge. You never really know anybody's backstory, and it's just be respectful when you're in there, right? Everybody's kind of different, and everybody's in there um, for for everybody's got a different reason for being there, but our goals are all the same. So you just got to realize it's a place where you can just be you and have fun and post and interact and ask questions. And I always recommend that you guys bring questions up in there, because if you're wondering one question, somebody else definitely is. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is that we are all different people. We all think differently. We come from different backgrounds, different ethnicities. Um, Different, I don't know, I don't care, different sexual orientations, maybe, it doesn't matter to me. And the point is, we're all in this together, and we all just got to be cool and support each other, and just be polite. And if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Otherwise, it's a really, really good community that we're building, and people are super cool, super down to earth, and I'm really, really excited about the way that it's been building over the last kind of 8 months since we've been in Costa Rica here, and it grows, and the caliber of people that we have in there are some really, really cool, supportive, down to earth people from various walks of life, everything from military to doctors to physicians to guys who work in the oil field to um, to police officers, to corporate guys, to whatever it might be. Everybody's different, so just be nice to each other, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, and just respect that, um, and that's it. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is this. You will fail, and I don't mean that in a jerk way. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to say that we're implementing some pretty big changes into your lifestyle, and there's a good chance that you're not going to nail everything on the first try. You know what I mean? You won't nail every exercise. You're going to have things come up in your life, that are priority. Maybe your son's going to get sick and you can't work out for 2 days, and it is what it is. It's not about creating excuses. It's about doing the best that you can with the circumstances that you have in front of you at the time. So you will there it's quite possible that you'll see some frustrations and you'll go through some crap. Just communicate with me, and I'm going to be there to support you. I want to see you win. My business is based on referrals, and if you don't do well, then I don't do well, because I depend on you guys to talk to each other and tell each other, and recruit other people to come in. We're just a small mom and pop. I'm nobody special. I just it's a passion of mine. It's something that I like to do, and that's it. So there's going to be some failings along the way. Don't sweat it. Just do the best that you can. That's all I ask. Do the best that you can with the circumstances that you have at that time. You're going to have some questions, and that's cool. I'm always going to be available. Never hesitate to reach out. If it's a question that other people might be thinking, please post it in the chat group. But failing that, feel free to send me an email. I won't always answer right away, because we're pretty busy with everything we have going on, but I will always make time to get back to you. And if I don't get back to you within, let's say, kind of a 12-hour time frame, please send me another email, because it's possible I didn't get the email or something's happened. But I do try to be as available as humanly possible for you guys, and we're going to be doing like some group chats and a bunch of different things that I'm going to try to get to bring us together a little bit more as a community. But make that chat room yours. Tell me who you are. Tell me what you're interested in. Lay down jokes, throw down memes, motivational things to pick each other up. It's your chat room, it's your challenge. And as I said, I'm not your guru. I definitely know what I'm doing, but I'm just a facilitator, and I take a very humble, relaxed approach to what I do, because nobody likes an arrogant asshole, I guess, and I really try not to be that, and I don't think that I am that, and I think a lot of the guys will agree. So I'm always open to feedback. I do implore you guys to think critically, and I do implore you guys to question absolutely everything, and that includes anything that you don't understand that comes out of my mouth, or anything that you doubt that comes out of my mouth, because it's you know just nobody knows everything, and sometimes me taking the time to explain things to you, as long as you're nice about it and as long as you're polite with me, then I'm never going to give you a hard time about asking questions. That's what I'm here for. I want you to win. I want you to succeed. So if you have questions, shoot off questions. I will be answering questions. I just made a little list here of things I wanted to chat with you guys about, so I'm just scrolling down. Yeah, so I'm also, a couple of things to expect the next couple of days. You're going to get an invite to the app. You're going to get sent your meal plan. I need you to log into that app, put in your information. Initial pictures and weigh-in. I think Senya sends out an email, and if not, I'll make sure I get it to you guys. But your initial pictures have to be taken with something that's like time stamped. So whether it's your platform set onto Google Time or your platform, whether it's like a phone or whether it is a whatever it might be, that's set to Google Time. One thing that I want the guys to do differently, and this is something that varies from the women, is I want you to take 2 sets of pictures this time, and I'll put a reminder in the chat. I want you to take the regular pictures, which is will be with your timestamp device, but I also want you guys to take pictures flexed because I find that we get better progress from these things and a better visualization if we can kind of show where you were before flexed versus where you are after flexed. Because a lot of the striations and a lot of the cuts and a lot of the things that your body's going to be developing into are just not going to be as noticeable as when you're flexing. You see new cuts, new muscles, new veins, all sorts of stuff. So 1 set of those 3 pictures will be regular, taken with your timestamp device for the first week, and then after that it'll be flexed. I don't judge. I don't judge, guys. I've seen it all. I've seen it all. Like I said, I don't claim to be special, but I've helped guys literally lose, from 100 to 60 to 40 to 30 to 20 pounds on the regular. I don't judge anybody. I keep an open mind. So when you're submitting your pictures, I know at first it might seem a little weird, but I've seen it all. I'm not a doctor in the sense that I have the same knowledge, but I'm a doctor. I'm like a doctor in the sense that I've seen it all. So don't hesitate. Zero judgment on my end. My goal is to get you there. And sure as hell is not to judge you. Because well, I'm sure people have judged me, but I never listened anyway. You just kind of got to do your own thing. Cheat days. Once a week, you're going to have a cheat day. So that is going to be factored into your caloric macros. And on that cheat day, I don't typically set limits. Here's what I say. You do the crime, you do the time, right? And it's not a cheat day, it's a cheat meal. So on Sundays usually is when I ask people to do it after their check-ins. We'll be doing weekly check-ins for those who are doing regular. Those who are doing classic won't do the weekly check-ins, but I always encourage you guys to reach out and ask and hit me up and ask questions and stay engaged and stay involved. But once a week on a Sunday, you're going to scrap what you would eat for dinner, and you're going to go out and you're going to enjoy like some pizza or hamburgers or whatever makes your heart happy, and just get a little bit of a diet break. And I factor that into your caloric calculations when we come out with your initial diet. Your initial diet won't be your final diet. For those guys who are doing regular Savage and Six, that will change. It might not, but it most likely will change throughout the week. I try to nail it as close as I can when we start, and the only way to actually nail that and dial that in is not through some mathematical formula, because everything is different. We are all different. We all have different levels of hormones. Our bodies function differently. We have different chromosomes. So that will likely change. But once a week, go out and have some fun, man, because it's about balance. And if you're going to be, depending on whether you're doing the gains or depending on whether you're doing the cut version, which is kind of like the lean out version, then if you're doing the lean out version, you're going to be on a caloric surplus. But if I generally recommend that you have like 1 meal and 1 cheat meal and maybe like a beer or something like that. And then just remember, if you go crazy, you're going to be putting in the extra cardio. And I don't mean that in a jerk way. I just mean if you do the crime, you do the time, and sometimes it's going to happen to you. Sometimes you're going to have a special event. Sometimes maybe your buddy's getting married. What are you going to tell him? Sorry, man, I'm doing the challenge. I'm not trying to change every aspect of your life. I'm just trying to make you better 90% of the time. And by making yourself better 90% of the time, you're going to conquer a lot more than you ever thought imaginable. So Sundays are there because food is good and food is meant to be enjoyed. And it's not all about sacrifice, because it's just not sustainable. The last thing I want to say before I go, guys, slow and steady form. You're going to get your application. It's going to have a series of exercises in there. You're going to have to log yourself into this app, log your reps, log your weight. Proper form is king, guys. I'll pull up some evidence later. I was actually reading a bunch of research articles today published by academic places, and interestingly enough, there's one that particularly says heavier weight does not mean more muscle or a larger muscle, and I'll break down the science behind that later on. But there's no point in doing a challenge if 3 weeks in you tear your shoulder out, right? Slow and steady, time under tension, nice, slow, controlled. that's king. That's what's going to get you the results. That's what's going to burn down the muscle fibers. And that is what's going to get your physique to the next level. I did a lot of heavy lifting when I was younger, and I tore a lot of things, and I broke a lot of things, and I dislocated a lot of things trying to be a He-Man. I turned 35 in 4 days, and the older I get, the smarter I lift, because I recognize that lifting heavy will get you, it might get you strong. You might get stronger by lifting, getting lifted by, oh my God, my brain. You might get stronger by lifting heavy, but you won't necessarily get bigger. And it's just the truth. Lifting heavy weights is going to make you stronger, but it won't necessarily make you bigger, and it won't make you better. Lifting medium weight slowly, that's where the magic happens. And I'll talk more about that later on. I don't want to fill your guys' head with too much information. I just wanted to reach out, and I just wanted to say hi, and I wanted to thank you guys for joining the Savage in 6. You can expect a ton of these videos along the way. Some you're going to find interesting, some you might not. Anyway, this video is 25 minutes. They won't be 25 minutes, I hope. Most of them won't. Welcome to Savage in 6. We've got some things coming up in the next few days. Keep your eyes on your mailbox, and welcome. I'm so stoked to have you, and this is going to be the best Savage in 6 yet. I guarantee it. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Have an excellent day, night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Do it well. Go have some fun. We got 6 days until we start this thing, and I personally am super, super excited. So my name is Matt. It's a pleasure to meet you, and the next 6 weeks are going to be fun. We'll see you soon.